Gentlemen, Antonio here. All right, today we're going to talk about the color gray and how it fits in your interchangeable wardrobe. It's my belief that the color gray is one of the most underutilized colors out there when men are looking to build a classic wardrobe that's actually going to work for them. In today's video, I'm going to talk primarily about two pieces that you should consider in your wardrobe. I'm going to talk about where to get them. I'm also going to talk about a few other ways to bring gray into your wardrobe with shirts, with shoes, and possibly with a few other items. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know. What do you have in your wardrobe? How do you use the color gray? What do you think of the color gray? And really quick, take a second, go down there. That way I can go in there and see what your opinion was before, and then maybe you could go in there afterwards and let me know if I changed any of your thoughts about this color. Again, it's not really used much in a modern man's wardrobe. So the first thing I want to talk about is the gray flannel trousers. This is, in my opinion, one of the most underutilized but useful piece in a man's wardrobe, and I'm about to show you why. So this pair right here, I worked with a company called Trunkist, and we've designed these. They're really a unique pair. They don't have any belt loops on them. They have side tabs. I took this from, I think it was Dr. No when 007 wore something like this. In addition, there's a great picture of Warren Beatty, I think taken in 1975. I love the idea of something to lengthen the leg line using a very, let's look at it. They're not, the material isn't super exciting. These aren't going to grab people's attention. And that's the key with trousers, is they should allow the eyes to go up and down. Look at your face, they'll look at your feet, and they go back right up to your face where you want to be able to have eye contact and talk with them. But the right pair of trousers can allow the eyes to go up and down and make you look taller. They can make you look leaner. In this case, that's what I've designed these for. But the right pair of gray flannels can match almost everything in your wardrobe. So I've got 11 shirts here, 10 of which I want you to focus on because they're all going to be whites and blues. Pretty simple, right? Guess what? This pair of trousers here will work with all of them here, except for the gray one at the back, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Pretty much all 14 of these sports jackets will work with this pair of gray flannel trousers. So I go through the dark greens. It's going to work perfectly fine. Look at that. The blues, I think gray flannel with a dark colored blue. This is a classic. It's next to a suit in level of formality. In fact, you could wear this with navy and this would be dressier than a light colored suit or a suit with a bold pattern. Again, I've got a wide variety of blues. It's going to work with all of them. And that is the beauty. Once you invest in a quality piece of gray flannel, and there are many other manufacturers. I'm not the only one that makes them. Brooks Brothers has them. They're relatively expensive, starting at about $250. You can find some custom clothiers that will do them over in Asia for about, I think about $150. Be careful. I talk about how to choose a custom clothier over in that part of the world. Sometimes the materials are really bad, but to get a great material with a great custom clothier, let's say you go to Savile Row or New York City and you find someone really good, expect to spend upwards of $200 to $300, in some cases $400, for custom trousers. So that's one of the reasons that we were making this, is we wanted to kind of help fill that void. Again, because they're gray, because they are a non-color, you don't have to worry about blues. You've got to be careful of what they're going to go with. You can't really try to match blues with other blues, or a lot of cool toned items out there are not going to necessarily work with blues. Gray, you don't have that issue. It's a non-color. Guys, by the way, I'm going to link to the offer over here. Boom, you can click here if you're interested in these trousers. I'll also link to them down below. We're putting out about 100 pairs, and I'm pretty excited about this. So go check them out. The gray jacket. The second item, which I think would work, a gray sports jacket, and you can come in a white. You can get solid grays. You can get ones that have complex patterns. This one right here, you'll notice you go in there, it's got a little bit of blue in there. It's got the white, it's got the black. So a tweed jacket like this is going to have texture to it. It's going to have a nice feel to it, but you can go with solid. Again, you can go with a houndstooth. You can go with something that has a more complex pattern in it. But I personally like something like this. I feel it's going to match a wide range. Now it's going to look best, I think, with the blues. The whites, they could pale you up. If you've got really light skin or you're older, you're above the age of 50, you want to be careful of bringing in a white with this, as it could pull some of the some of the, literally almost pulls, it seems like it pulls the life out of some of your skin. So focus in with a blue, maybe also look at some warmer tone shirts if you want to get outside of this range. These pants, these basically, a canvas blue, that's going to work well. But I really like it when you can start to bring in some contrast. So you've got these right here, these, see that? Just throw that down over there. That would work. That would almost be a little bit, I don't know if I would go with this. Maybe in the summer you could pull this off. But this right here, that's going to be a fine look during the fall, winter, spring, even the summer. I could talk about this stuff quite a bit longer, guys. I'll go into more details in the article right here that will support this. But basically, you guys may be wondering, okay, if gray flannels, if they were so great, why did they fall out of favor? Really, it was denim. It's less expensive. It was, in many people's minds, a bit more durable, easy to take care of. So gray flannels fell out. Also, a lot of flannel was used during the war. It was something that was watched very carefully. We didn't use as much denim in the war, so there weren't the same types of rationing on it. Things like that conspired against it. We also saw the same thing with sports jackets. A lot of men just aren't wearing sports jackets nowadays. Now, I talked about a few other things here. Gray shirts. Now, gray shirts in general, if they're solid, I don't really like them. I do like it though when you bring in a cool little pattern like this. Again, Ledbury's the manufacturer of this one. I have it. I like it. I've worn it a few times. Be careful about wearing too much gray. Guys, I don't recommend matching a gray jacket with gray trousers. To me, it's choose one, and that's why I went in that order. I think men should start with the trousers. Get a few pairs, and you can have variations. I've got this pair. Very similar to, these were actually used as the designs off the one that I'm working with Trunkist on. But again, I love side tabs. For me, it's really unique and it sets me apart. I make sure that they fit me properly. The side tabs let me adjust. I don't need a belt, lengthens my leg line. I also like that I've got, and I have these on the ones I made with Trunkist, I've got a hidden pocket so I can hide my credit cards or hide anything. I also don't have back pockets on these trousers. This was my design, my choice to go for a more streamlined silhouette. Gray is a color that it allows you to do and focus in on other things. So these pair of shoes here, the color isn't what we focus in on. What we focus in on is the texture. We focus in on the fact that they're using suede. This is from Paul Evans, by the way. I've talked about him in another video in which I talk about loafers. Boom, right over here. But guys, again, gray, the color, isn't a color and it's not going to grab attention. What I love about gray is it allows you to focus in on other things. It doesn't hog the limelight, it sits in the background, and it allows you to build a more complete interchangeable wardrobe. Guys, take care. Go check out the support article and let me know in the comments, have I changed your thoughts about the color gray? Take care. See you in the next video.